Good friend of mine, Judge Debra Jones. She's a circuit court judge at Anniston, been a judge 12 years. She's running again for the Supreme Court. I told her, I was with her all day Saturday. I said, my friend, it's time for a name change. She said, what do you mean a name change? I said, it is time for your name to be changed from Judge Debra Jones to Justice Debra Jones. Justice. She's got to be sitting on the Supreme Court, you know? And she's only one qualified for that job. And she's more than qualified for that job. Anyway, I'm checking in with you quick. Oh, Ben. Okay, here we go. Brenda is asking the question. See, I'm talking about these attack ads. Debra Jones took money, dishonest, in 80% of the cases in research. Is that true? Brenda, it is totally not true. That is totally not true. I have written 2 articles about this. That is the crazy. This woman is a woman of God, and she has the highest integrity, spiritual woman of God. She cannot believe that someone who is an attorney, who was running for the Supreme Court, would tell such a blatant lie about her. This guy ran a TV ad that said that her cases have been overturned over 80% of the time. The people who work in the court system had a fit. I'm going to show you the text actually. One of the court officers, the head of the court officers, spent 10 hours last week pulling up all of Judge Debra's cases and said, here's the actual record of your cases. Everybody knows you've got a stellar record. You're not overturned. And he actually spent the time and dug it up and have put it to all the lawyers. They cannot, first of all, ethics violation. The other ad that he ran was against trial. First ad, her opponent, Mr. Cook, ran an ad saying he's going to be the fair judge to everybody if he gets elected to the Supreme Court. Then he came out with an ad that said, I'm going after the trial lawyers. If you're sitting on the Supreme Court and you put out a campaign ad saying you're going after trial lawyers, any case that comes across to the Supreme Court that has a trial lawyer involved in it, he's going to have to recuse himself. You can only be recused so much percent of the time, and you're removed from the court. And he's got a huge ethics problem with that. They could file an ethics complaint on him. Here, I'm going to show it to you. Here is the text. Let me see if I can see what you're saying. I'm so glad you asked. Now, for those of you in Alabama, it doesn't matter, but this proves the point. The point in my opening statement was the closer it gets to the election, the more people start lying about each other. But you know what? Lying, we're used to that in politics. It's sad to say. I wish we weren't. But we're used to that in politics. But when you're running for the Supreme Court of a state, you should be operating at a higher level. You should be operating at a higher level of integrity. The chief officer of court, Rich Hobson, text messaged Judge Debra Jones and said, here is what your real record is. We've pulled your cases. Oh, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. You have been reversed 4 of 100 cases with 7 still pending. For civil cases, you've been reversed 3 of 32 cases with 2 still pending. That is only the cases that somebody made an objection to. The hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases that nobody had an objection to aren't even in those numbers. These are the ones that somebody said, we're going to appeal. She had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases over the last 12 years on the circuit court that were never even appealed. These are the ones that were appealed. She was reversed 4 times out of 104 with 7 still pending on civil cases, and was reversed 3 out of 32 cases with 2 still pending. And he even put his phone number on there. And that text went out to everybody. I tell you what, the lawyers and the other judges in the state of Alabama are having a fit But he's told such a blatant lie in an ad. You're running for the Supreme Court. Go to a higher level, man. If you don't have the qualifications for the job, you have to come out and lie about your opponent. It's sickening. It's really sickening. And she didn't take, you know what happened? Her opponent came out. I just can't believe it. Her opponent came out with this ad saying he's going after the trial lawyers. So you know what happened? And it only happened 2 weeks ago. You know what happened? The trial lawyers freaked out and said, we can't let this guy get on the Supreme Court. And they started throwing money at Judge Debra Jones. She never got hardly any money from the trial lawyers until that happened. And all of a sudden, they're like, they couldn't make donations fast enough. They're like, we can't let somebody sit on the court that's out for us. And they started writing her all these checks. So what happens? All of a sudden, they're giving her all this money. His campaign saw, wait a minute, the trial lawyers are giving her all this money. Let's use it against her. And he put out these nasty emails and texts everywhere and ads saying, Judge Debra Jones is taking all this money from trial lawyers. They only gave her the money because he put an ad out saying he was going after them. Politics in America. It's nuts.